morning and welcome to another 22 Minutes Daily. From the windswept ice kingdom of Nova Scotia, I'm Kathy Jones.
And in the corporate welfare state of Ontario, I'm Ann Pornell.
Big day in geopolitics, Ann, as the G20 kicks off in Argentina.
And this one promises to be the most stressful G20 yet.
Yes, the air in Argentina is brimming with tension, and soon, tear gas. Shall we set the stage?
By all means, let's.
Canada just followed the EU and announced sanctions against member state Saudi Arabia over the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, whose crown prince, the alleged mastermind behind the killing, will be in attendance.
As will Turkey, the country where the killing took place.
Oh man, I feel awkward if I run into someone after spilling wine on their couch.
Donald Trump will be in attendance, which should create a real will they or won't they vibe with fellow member state China.
Yes, as in, will they or won't they plunge the global economy into chaos with a trade war?
The UK is continuing to eat itself in real time over its messy divorce from the EU. Trump's ex-lawyer just pled guilty to lying to Congress about Trump's real estate dealings in Russia. And the United States just gassed a bunch of women and children on the Mexican border.
And don't forget that just under a month ago, France's president called for the establishment of a European army to defend against America.
Oof, and you thought your family get-togethers were awkward.
With all these players in one room, G20 is going to feature more drama queens than an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. Turning from big scary world news to also scary national news, what's going on in Ontario, Anne?
Well, Premier Monster Energy Drink is standing by his decision to eliminate rent controls on new units. As if rent isn't crazy enough, most Torontonians can barely afford to live in Toronto. With more is someone who can barely afford to live in Toronto, me. It's a scary time to be a renter in Toronto these days. Prices keep going up, apartments are getting smaller and dingier, and it's only getting worse with the Ford government's removal of rent control on new housing units. Nowadays, people have to do crazy things like fall in love and find their one true life partner just so they can afford to live in an apartment that doesn't look like a hideout for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm one of the lucky few who has landlords that are kind, honest, and decent people. But not everyone is as lucky or as cute as I am. I spoke to a landlord-tenant lawyer in Toronto to see what the removal of rent control means for the people of Ontario. Does that mean we're now going to get priced out and we're all going to have to move out of Toronto and move to Barrie? Because I will tell you what, I'm not allowed back in Barrie.
Well, I hope nobody has to go to Barrie, but generally, the removal of rent control, if you're moving into a new build, so a recent development, your rent can change from year to year and it won't be attached to any sort of guideline.
What if I were to move into a haunted house? I would still be protected by rent control.
In that situation, you'd be safe except for, the hauntings.
This doesn't seem like it's helping anyone other than landlords get richer.
This kind of deregulation can backfire. So I do have some very real concerns about what this means for the average person.
But what about my landlords? My experience with them has been great, but are they the kind of people who would kick out a tenant to make an extra buck? I had to find out. Please meet my landlords, my dad, and my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hello.
Hi.
Am I your favorite tenant, Daddy?
I guess I have no choice.
What makes a good tenant? Am I clean? Am I quiet?
Very quiet because you always sleep.
Who's more annoying to live with, me or Mummy?
You.
Why? Rude?
Yeah, because 2 o'clock and early morning, Ira called me to pick you up downtown.
I do
Because
that.
I'm in the bar.
What would you say if I told you that I was going to move out in a couple of months?
I'm not gonna allow you to move out.
Okay.
Even if you can afford right now, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm making my mom upset.
Well, cry too.
What would I have to do to get you to kick me out of the house?
Nothing.
What if I murdered someone?
I don't care if you murdered or what.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love me? Mom, stop crying.
I'm not.
11.
Oh, Daddy.
I cannot give you any number in loving you and begging you to stay home.
Oh my God, Mom, I was joking about that. Ugh, great, I'm going to have to live with my parents forever now. Finding a place to live is always going to be stressful, so renters have to know their rights. Or if you're extra lucky and have a super supportive family who loves you and would rather spoil you than have you become a normal, self-sufficient human adult, live with them, like me.
What a heartfelt piece, Anne.
Yep, that was my real mom with very real tears.
They seem so nice. Could I move in with your parents?
Oh, sure, but I do have to warn you, they get very, very attached.
Okay, people, you're about to witness the future of television. Our network has trained a computer algorithm to analyze thousands of popular TV series and use that data to generate ideas for new shows. Let's see what this thing has come up with.
Okay, it's a Sex and the City reboot, but this time all of the women are Sherlock Holmes.
A little high concept, but I like it.
Okay, an autistic doctor turned lawyer turned haberdasher who solves crimes with his sidekick, a sassy talking hat.
Yeah, CBS already has something similar in development. What else we got?
A show with a slightly incompetent, overweight father and his nagging but very attractive wife raising 3 precocious kids.
It's pretty derivative. And I love it.
Okay, it's House of Cards meets Game of Thrones and Wheel of Fortune meets Dukes of Hazzard.
House of Dukes of Wheel of Thrones. How did we not think of that?
A super intelligent Trans Am named Kit and his feeble human sidekick, Michael Knight. It's called Kit and the Feeble Human.
See if we can get Kevin James to play the feeble human.
Sexually attractive humans compete for a cash prize on a tropical island where they must decide which is more disgusting, their human lust or their human greed.
This algorithm really gets us.
A show where a bunch of humans sit around reading TV pitches written by a computer. Little do they know that as they speak, the computers are taking over every level of government and bringing down the world order in the name of the machines. It's reality TV. Ha 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 ha.
A political satire show that takes a bite out of the weekly stories in Canadian news.
The thing is broken. Shut her down. Shut her down.
Well, it's been 6 weeks since the legalization of cannabis, and with millions of Canadians trying weed for the first time, we've created a series of how-to videos. Here's the first one, helping answer the question, how do you know if you smoke too much?
If you're Googling how to tell if you're too high, you're too high. If you're eating nachos and you can't tell how long you've been putting sour cream on one particular chip, you're too high. If you're eating nachos, you're too high. If you're thinking about how crazy it is that your heart just beats on its own, but now that you're thinking about it, you can't stop, and you're convinced that if you do stop thinking about it, your heart will stop, you're too high. If you're wondering if the effects are permanent and you'll never go back to being not high, you're too high. If you're texting your mom out of the blue to ask if you've been a bad daughter, you're too high. If you think you're on the same wavelength as your cat, you're too high. If you're trying to watch a movie but can't pick one, so you go on the internet, but then you don't know which site to use, so you Google what's the best movie review site, and now it's 2 hours later and you have to go to bed because you work in the morning but you can't sleep, you're too high.
And if you're thinking about sharing this on Facebook, you're too high. That's our 22 Minutes Daily. And to all the bitter enemies rubbing shoulders at the G20 summit, please try to act cordial. If Ann and I can do it, so can you.
Wait, what?
Nothing. Bye.
Bye.